Never in my wildest imagination did I ever think of having these pictures juxtaposed. To those clueless about either or both, on my right is a picture of the Rudali women from Rajasthan who are known for their special skill of crying to mourn the death of affluent landlords during funerals. Yes, crying. On my left is Kendrick Lamar, a popular rapper at the top of his game. When I listen to his music, I see that he's no different from the Rudalis. The Rudalis cry for the dead. Kendrick gives words to the small deaths that the living endure every day: poverty, injustice, heartbreak, and identity crisis. Both narrate life stories, but in forms many of us overlook. One is visible in tradition, and the other invisible in our headphones. And perhaps that's the truth about some of the most powerful narrators that are out there today. They don't always speak, they hum, they drum, and they echo through the centuries. These aren't just sounds, they're archives, stories of migration, prayer, resistance, and identity. Now, how many of you have heard of Drupad, an ancient Indian style with a gravitas that can stop time? Or Mevlevi Sufi music? The chants of the whirling dervish spiraling like thoughts in motion. Not many of you. This points out to something profound. This tells us what voices we choose to echo and what stories we allow to travel. And yes, music does travel. And if not the music itself, then the disciples of music do. Take the Beatles. In 1965, they had come to India. George Harrison, a member of the band, trained rigorously on the sitar, an Indian string instrument. Listen to that. That sound, the sitar, had completely transformed their music. It added texture, depth, and an entirely new vocabulary to their music. Indian instruments didn't just influence the Beatles. In fact, it had revolutionized them. It added depth and soul to their melodies. From then on, music for the Beatles wasn't just a bunch of physical instruments and vocals. It became something that transcended the physical being. While some sounds travel across borders, countless others are vanishing without a trace. UNESCO warns that nearly half of the world's 7,000 languages could disappear by the end of this century. And when a language dies, so do its songs, its prayers, and its lullabies. On streaming platforms, over 80% of total plays go to the top 1% of artists. So, while a few voices dominate our playlists, thousands of cultural soundscapes slip quietly into silence. These aren't just statistics. In fact, they're mourning songs of dying languages. So here's a poignant question for all of us. When was the last time we truly listened to these voices? Not just heard them, but really listened. Algorithms today doesn't matter, but the fact that we listen to these music and find the essence behind it really, really matters. In this chaos of trends, entertain me in 30 seconds or I leave. Who has the patience to listen to the tales lost in time? Who has the patience to listen to the fluttering of the butterflies or the crunching of dried leaves under bare feet? Or to listen to the steady breaths of the elderly as you lean closer to them to feel their heartbeat? In a maternity ward, the most beautiful music to doctors is an infant's first cry. Ask a teenager, and he'll tell you what joy, his newfound love, his bike gives him when making those vroom vroom sounds. Music flows from the beginning of life to its very end. It can be the morning alarm, the bhajan in the temple, the hymn in the church, or the azan that calls you to prayer. Music is memory. Music is ritual. Music is being present in the moment. So let me ask you something. How do you explain the color light blue to someone who is born blind? Someone who has never perceived the color blue wouldn't know. This is the same for music. What are we feeding the little one's ears? In the name of distraction, we hand over cocomelon, brush past centuries of sound, and wonder why their ears and souls remain shallow. Hence, before we go international in our taste of music, why not go local? Fortunately, I could trace back my roots in Carnatic music. At 3, it quietly taught me to listen with intention, to feel the silence, and try to uncover the layered stories hidden in every raga. Music is that invisible thread that ties us all. These traditions don't shout. They don't market themselves. They're not made for reels or reaction videos. They're stories woven into stillness. And when we forget them, it's really important we realize that we're not just losing music, we're losing memory, silencing a history that cannot be Googled, summarized, or ChatGPT'd. Of the many things that are going extinct in our world, there's threat to our stories of melodies. When algorithms dictate what survives in our world, centuries of sound can succumb to these trends, leaving behind a world bursting with noise, yet bereft of songs. And that all the listening ears hear will be the loudest silence. Thank you.